The courtroom doors slammed open just as the judge reached for the final stack of papers. "Your Honor," a breathless voice echoed across the silent room. Every head turned. A janitor wearing a faded Navy maintenance uniform stood frozen in the doorway, gripping an old cleaning cart with one hand and a worn leather notebook with the other. The CEO closed her eyes. She had never seen the man before. Yet somehow, he looked like the last chance she had left. 3 days earlier, Evelyn Brooks had walked into the federal courthouse believing facts would protect her company. She had spent 15 years building Brooks Biomedical, a company that manufactured affordable hospital equipment for rural clinics. Thousands of families depended on the business. But one anonymous federal complaint claimed her company had intentionally hidden safety inspection failures. Investors panicked. News channels called her reckless. Government contracts disappeared overnight. If the accusations held, Brooks Biomedical would collapse before the month ended. The painful part wasn't losing the company. It was knowing the accusations weren't completely false. Some inspection reports had indeed vanished. She simply didn't know why. Every morning before sunrise, Marcus Hill quietly pushed his cleaning cart through the same courthouse hallways. At 38, the widowed father worked 2 jobs to raise his 9-year-old daughter, Lily. He wasn't educated in corporate law. He wasn't connected. He simply believed every place deserved someone who cared enough to notice small things. Judges often nodded at him. Security guards trusted him. Clerks barely noticed him. Marcus noticed everyone, especially what they accidentally left behind. The trial entered its second week. Government attorneys presented missing maintenance records that suggested Brooks Biomedical had erased evidence. The courtroom felt colder each day. Evelyn barely slept. Her own executives couldn't explain the missing files. Even loyal employees started doubting her. Then came another blow. Her chief compliance officer admitted under oath that he couldn't account for several document transfers. Gasps spread through the gallery. The judge requested a recess. Outside, reporters swarmed the courthouse steps. Headlines were already being written. The CEO was finished. That same afternoon, Marcus cleaned an empty conference room where legal teams had spent hours reviewing evidence. Most people overlooked scattered sticky notes and discarded coffee cups. Marcus never did. He carefully separated recyclable paper from confidential documents before shredding anything. As he emptied a trash bin, a small spiral notebook slipped onto the carpet. Someone had accidentally thrown it away. Normally, lost items went straight to courthouse security. But one handwritten page caught his attention, not because of the legal language, because several dates had been crossed out and rewritten. Marcus frowned. He had seen those exact dates before. Not in court. Inside the courthouse maintenance logs. Years earlier, Marcus had helped supervise a renovation after flooding damaged the federal records basement. Every temporary storage room had been assigned unique barcode schedules. He remembered them because he had personally labeled hundreds of archive boxes. The notebook listed evidence transfers that supposedly occurred on days when the storage wing had been completely closed due to water damage. That couldn't be right, unless someone had altered the timeline. Marcus quietly requested access to old maintenance archives. The records manager hesitated. Maintenance files rarely mattered in federal cases. Still, Marcus had worked there for nearly 12 years. She trusted him. Minutes later, dusty archive logs confirmed his memory. The storage area hadn't been accessible on the dates listed in the prosecution's evidence chain. Something wasn't adding up. Marcus wasn't trying to save a CEO. He simply hated seeing facts buried beneath assumptions. He carried copies of the maintenance logs to courthouse security. Within an hour, federal investigators paused the trial. The courtroom buzzed with confusion. The judge ordered every evidence transfer record reviewed. Reporters sensed something changing. No one knew why. Not yet. The investigation uncovered something nobody expected. The inspection reports hadn't disappeared inside Brooks Biomedical. They had been misplaced after federal agents collected them months earlier. During the courthouse flooding, temporary evidence boxes were relocated. One employee, overwhelmed and nearing retirement, had accidentally entered incorrect transfer dates while reconstructing damaged records. No fraud. No conspiracy. Just one administrative mistake that snowballed into a national scandal. The government's own evidence timeline had become unreliable. The case suddenly shifted. Still, Evelyn's reputation remained shattered. Winning in court couldn't erase weeks of public suspicion. She quietly packed her briefcase after the hearing. Outside, cameras waited. Instead of facing them immediately, she walked downstairs toward the quiet service hallway. Marcus was replacing trash liners. He looked embarrassed when she approached. "You saved my company." Marcus shook his head. "I just found the truth." She smiled weakly. "No, you protected something bigger." He didn't understand. She continued. "You reminded everyone that ordinary people paying attention still matters." For the first time in weeks, Evelyn felt lighter. Not because she had won, because someone with no reason to help had chosen honesty over convenience. The story spread far beyond the courtroom. News articles praised the federal review that corrected the mistake. But viewers became more interested in the quiet janitor than the executive. People donated to courthouse employee appreciation funds. Maintenance workers received recognition ceremonies across the state. Schools invited Marcus to speak, not about law, but about responsibility. He always repeated the same sentence. Small jobs still carry big consequences. Lily attended every speech. She never looked prouder. Months later, Brooks Biomedical recovered. Not completely. Some investors never returned. Some contracts were permanently lost. But hospitals that relied on affordable equipment stood by the company. Trust rebuilt slowly, one decision at a time. Evelyn created a new transparency program requiring every department, from executives to custodians, to report process concerns directly without fear. The first employee honored under the program wasn't an executive. It was the overnight cleaning supervisor. The award carried Marcus's name. He almost refused to attend. Lily insisted. "You always tell me doing the right thing isn't about being noticed," she said. He laughed. "I do. Then let people notice this time." Years later, visitors walking through Brooks Biomedical headquarters often paused beside a simple bronze plaque near the entrance. It didn't celebrate profits. It didn't mention lawsuits. It didn't even mention the CEO. It simply read, "Integrity is often carried by the people no one expects to be watching." Employees touched the plaque before difficult meetings. New hires asked about its meaning. The answer never changed. One ordinary father pushing a cleaning cart had reminded an entire courtroom that truth doesn't always arrive wearing an expensive suit. Sometimes, it arrives quietly, holding a mop in one hand and courage in the other.